What's Grounded fam? It's your boy Johnny Gio. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Grounded Phoenix podcast. As always, the purpose of this channel is to express vulnerability and expand awareness to addiction, trauma, and mental health. I have Steven on the mic with me, aka Riggy Marz. What's Grounded, bro?
What it do, man? Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Of course. I'm freaking honored to have you here, bro. I appreciate your time for rolling up. Normally I ask people to give their stories and shit, but we're going to switch things up right now. We're going to do it a little different, a little bit more creative because you're a music artist. So you have about 2 and some change years clean, right?
Yes.
And I actually met you at a Teams 12 meeting, bro. And I was thinking about that today. I was like, damn, I remember when I met this fool. I don't know if you remember, but we were talking. It was a meeting before a meeting and shit. And I was like, yo, what's up, you're Riggy Marz? I was like, oh shit, like a freaking groupie. I was like, yo, damn, dude. And then you're like, yeah, I recognize you. You model for Team 12, right? I was like, yeah, I shake my ass for him here and there.
Yeah.
So I was just fucking looking back and laughing about that shit. But like I said, we're gonna switch things up a bit today. The way it's gonna go down is I'm gonna actually quote you. Hopefully I don't butcher any of your fucking songs and shit. I'm gonna take a song title and I'm gonna quote you on a couple of your bars because they're very influential. So to start things off, bro, let's get into Toxic Love, man. I want to talk about Toxic Love. That's a song title. In particular, your relationship with drugs, bro. When did it begin? How did it escalate? And where did it stem from?
I definitely was born with the gene. Addiction runs in my family. So like I had like all the symptoms of a addict, alcoholic at a very young age, like acting out, shit like that. And so by the time I found drugs and alcohol, it was like fucking, I was like, like I can breathe, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so as soon I was hooked the first time I tried it, dude. And I was on a mission to just try every drug in the book.
Right.
And I think I came pretty close, to be honest.
You were freaking ecstasy, heroin, coke, all that shit.
All that shit.
What did you start off with?
Weed, and then WD-40 actually. I used to spray WD-40 in a bag and huff that shit. But weed, and then like psychedelics, and then everything else, and I kind of just graduated with heroin and psychedelics.
Oh snap! Into shrooms and acid and everything. I saw you went to Frisco the other day and shit. I was like, damn, I was at that park, man. I remember I was at that park talking to the hobos over there, fucking trying to get some fucking eighth of shrooms, gold caps.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But so how did your addiction escalate, bro? And do you think now that you have some time on you, clean and sober, do you kind of pinpoint now like where it stemmed from initially?
Yeah, for sure. It stemmed from like low self-esteem and feeling inadequate and less than, you know what I mean? I was just like from an early age, like just kind of a depressed kid, you know what I mean? So that was like my first love in life, but like even now in sobriety, like I'm addicted to anything that feels good.
Right.
People too, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Women, food, all that shit.
Yeah, I feel you on that because I'm codependent. I still feel like I'm codependent with people. Like I'm a people pleaser. So that's something that I kind of want to work on. Do you know exactly how it escalated and what was your environment like early on in your addiction? Like in your childhood, the environment. I know your pops and all that.
Yeah, I grew up, I'm like a Hollywood kid. Like I grew up around film industry people because of my parents, so I saw drugs and drug use like at a very young age.
Oh, for sure.
And then was exposed to like a lot of movies with that shit. Like I was way too young to be watching that kind of shit. And like I looked at those movies and it like those are my role models.
Right.
And like all the famous like rock stars and shit, like the 27 Club, like those are the people I looked up to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like it looked cool. And they make it look cool on TV and shit. You know what I mean?
And that shit hasn't stopped either. It's like glorified, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start quoting you on some of your bars, bro. Unfortunately, I didn't remember them. I got some freaking brain damage, so I'm gonna be looking up on my board. You went glorified drugs, more like normalized pain. What kind of pain were you trying to normalize? Were you trying to numb?
I think being an artist and like addicts too are just like sensitive people by nature.
Yep.
So like walking around like sober was just like it felt like walking around with like the Band-Aid ripped off, like just exposed to like life is just so big and overwhelming. Like
yep. I know exactly what that's like.
So that bar in particular though, that was like I was kind of, some people are like, why do you glorify drugs in your songs?
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't glorifying drugs, like just that's normal for me. That was normal. I'm just normalizing this pain I feel. Like I'm not saying it's cool. It's actually quite the opposite. You know what I mean? Right.
So you're trying to bring awareness to it. You're trying to bring, kind of like how Team 12 does. Like a lot of people kind of get that misconception, but it's quite the contrary. I'm gonna go on to this next bar. It goes fixated on the fast funds. Pokeballs paid my black habit. I want you to describe what your lifestyle was like during that moment and what did it lead to?
Oh man, life was just all about the fast life and the money, and that was like when shit was fun. Like using was fun then till it wasn't anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I was selling a lot of ecstasy pills, the Pokeballs. I don't know if you remember those.
Quadruple stack?
Yeah, that shit was lit, bro. Like going to EDC, Nocturnal Wonderland, and like Moon Tribe parties and shit.
Yep.
So like heroin was the last drug I got into at about 21. And that was like the end. That was right when things changed from like it being fun to like I started catching cases, and like so the ecstasy, the Pokeballs funded my black habit until I just had no hustle anymore, and I was just strung out and like useless. You know what I mean?
What was your lowest low that you hit during your heroin habit?
I mean, this 2 years ago, you know, and it wasn't much different than like other bottoms. Like I'd been like more fucked off from the drugs before, but like I was 2 years ago, I was going through a breakup too. So it was just a combination of all of it. You know what I mean? And the heroin wasn't getting me high anymore. Like I just wanted to die. You know? I was missing her, and it like took her like leaving me to like where I was just really alone for it to like, because I'm the type of addict, like I have to be, like I never learn. It's like the same cycle happens over and over and over. And then I'm finally like, okay, I'm so hard-headed and like obsessive compulsive, you know? So like when she dipped, I felt like that was like the last good thing I had in my life. So when that was gone, it was just like darkness, you know? So it was a combination of that. And I'd been wanting to stop for a while. Like I never wanted to stop before. But like when I met her, that was like I really had the like want to stop, but I didn't have the means to like I didn't know how to go about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I wanted to like be good for her, us, whatever.
Right.
And, like so she dipped, and I was just like I'm done, dude. Plus I was like in my 30s already, and like it had just already been such a long road. You know?
It's crazy how we can have multiple bottoms, and then usually probably the last one is not in a sense the worst one, huh? But it takes like maybe somebody or something to happen for us to get over that. And I know you have a son?
Yeah.
How's your relationship like with your son now?
It's good. You know, he lives in another state, but we talk all the time, and I go out there to see him as much as I can. It's been like difficult with COVID and everything, you know what I mean? But I saw him last month, like for his birthday and shit. So, but he's just like, you know, he's like a teenager now, almost. Like he just loves video games. And
that's
like,
what's up.
You know what I mean? Like he's good. Like he's taken care of. Like he's with, you know, his mom's side of the family, and like, you know, I didn't feel the need to like get sober and like tear him from that environment to like raise him type shit. Like he's good. You know what I mean? So that's the most important thing to me. Like he's happy and fucking, you know what I mean?
Of course, and I admire that because, as you know, I'm a father as well. So, like, when people recover and they're doing really good for themselves, especially you now that you're, like, in the music industry, I really admire that because it sends the right message to other fathers out there to, you know, kind of step their game up. I know it's hard, but that's the message I want to get across. I'm going to go back to some bars that you spit, bro. So, I'm an old soul living the only life I know. Burn bridges, blue flame, bitch, I'm out of control.
I'm an old soul living only life that I know. Burn bridges, blue flame, bitch, I'm out of control.
Told you I was gonna butcher that shit.
No, that was close, bro. That was good. That was good.
No, okay, so you know I'm not a rapper. I'm on the mic, but I'm not a rapper. But yeah,
like you should do my fucking backup vocals when I start performing again, man.
Oh shit, my writing is sloppy as fuck. So when did you gain control? Like when did you gain control of your disease, bro? What was that like? What was that journey like?
I never did. Mm-hmm. Like I got. When I just like let go and let God, like they say, like that's when, like I've gained some tools to like prevent me from like just taking the first one. But once I take the first one, I lose all control.
Right.
Like and that's, I didn't understand like the disease concept. Like I was like young and naive. And once it was broken down by a sponsor and shit like that, like it made sense. You know what I mean?
It was funny. I was watching the Team 12 meeting on live, and you were talking about that. Talk about how you thought you went through the process, but you really didn't. Like someone had to tell you, like, bro, you didn't. You had a sponsor, but it was just another number on your phone.
Oh yeah. I went to a meeting every day, like they said. I had a sponsor, aka a dude's number in my phone
right.
that I didn't utilize. Like the motherfucker probably didn't even know I was his sponsee, you know what I mean? Right. And then I relapsed and then I'd blame it on the program. Like, see, it doesn't work. Like I had a sponsor. I went to meetings. Like, you know what I mean? Like some people can stay sober just going to meetings and like be happy. That's cool. Like I need fucking all that shit. Mm-hmm. Like I'm a very complicated human being and I had no design for living prior. So, like, that's why it's worked for me, because I didn't, like, have a life and then, like, get my life back type shit. Like, I'd been in a dark hole for fucking 15 years. You know
I feel you, dog. I feel you. I want to talk about the process, the recovery process, real quick now that we're on that subject. You did the 12 steps. Which step was it the most difficult for you, and which step are you the most grateful for? I know that's tough, but, like, looking back, like, right now, which one, like, damn, like, or something that you have to do almost on a daily basis?
The hardest one for me was making amends, because I'm like, I just want to like minimize the damage and just like if I hurt someone, just hope with enough time that passes, like we'll both just forget about it type shit.
Right.
So like having to go face to face to people and be like, yo, like I am really sorry. Like what can I do to like fix this situation?
Confronting.
It was like humiliating, bro, but it felt good afterwards. You know what I mean? The step that helps me the most is step 3, because when I'm in my head and like a saying that I really resonates with me is God is either everything or is nothing.
Right.
So when I'm having trouble during the day and shit like that and anxiety and shit like that, it's actually lack of faith.
Oof.
You know what I mean? And so it's, you know, like I have, like, that's why waking up, I have like a morning routine and like I read daily reflections and pray and shit. And like I have to start the day off like that or I get wrapped up real quick. You know?
So like the lack of like faith, or when you're having these bad days, if you don't like necessarily kind of give in and say like it's not in my control, like it just goes, you get anxiety and shit like that. Because it happens to me, because usually I like to be in control. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to admit that I don't have the control, but I don't. And once I admit that, I'm just like, fuck it, I can only control like certain things, but not all the things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you have anxiety, you're basically like future tripping.
Or past tripping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, true that, yeah. And you just, like, so practicing letting go is important, you know? And that's like, that's hard for me, dude, because I'm an egomaniac, you know what I mean? And
Same.
like the like main actor and the director, but like really I'm not, you know? I'm just like a speck on this earth, dude, like a fucking piece of sand.
Yo, that's crazy the way you put that, dude. I agree with you. Man. All right, so going back to these bars, hopefully I don't butcher this one, bro. Amethyst, tiger's eye, wired up. So there's, for people that don't know, amethyst and tiger's eye is like crystal chakras. It's a form of spirituality, energy, frequency, vibrations. when you wrote this verse, that wasn't the full verse, by the way. It's just I don't want to fucking, what were you thinking? What were you feeling like when you wrote this? Like, are you spiritual? What do you do to practice spirituality? You said you believe in God, but like, what did the chakras got to do with it?
Yeah, just I'm like mind, body, soul shit, and like my God is like nature. Like I'm not religious by any means. Like I like kind of, that works for other people, cool, but like I kind of like cut the middleman out and went on my own like personal quest, you know what I mean? But I like all that kind of shit, like all the like Eastern philosophy and like Native American stuff, you know what I mean?
Whatever works for people, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about it too. And you know what's crazy is I actually started off, because I'm Catholic, and my mom wanted us to like pray. I don't know any single prayer. But I did my first communion, and I always had like this negative outlook towards God because all this negative shit kept happening. And I was like, well, fucking, if this fool's real and shit, why are all these things that are negative happening? You know, I was in a victimized mindset, so to speak. But even when I got sober, I didn't really open up to God. And chakras, crystal chakras, was one of the forms that really opened me up. And now I'm freaking on my knees, fucking praying to God. You know what I'm saying? So like, to each his own, whatever helps them, like I'm all for it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know, so I want to get into your recovery aspect in terms of family members. What's the comparison compared to back then when you were using? How were your relationships like before and now? I mean, family members, friends.
Yeah, they didn't want me around, dude. My mom would like call the cops on me.
Right.
But she was also the one that would like the only one that would come visit me in jail. You know what I mean? It was a codependent relationship. And her dad died of alcoholism, so like it's kind of like she's like codependent. You know what I mean? And that, I mean, that's like, I mean, I think everyone is to some degree, but
True.
Now they want me around all the time and like call me all the time, and it's like annoying, low key, you know what I mean? But like my living amends is like I have to answer the phone and like text them back and like just be like, 'cause I owe that to them. That's the least I owe to them.
Let's get into the music aspect of it and your passion for it. I'm gonna quote you one more time. Music is my muse, wonder why I'm still alive today.
Yeah, that's the most important thing in my life. Because it kind of like is my spirituality, so like is my God, and like without God I can't be anything to anybody. You know what I mean? And that's like my identity, dude. It's like in my blood. Music, even like, and I'm not one of those dudes that like so many of them that like got sober and then decided to be a rapper. You know what I mean? Like I've been doing this shit forever.
Right.
I'd take long breaks because I'd just be strung out and like, but that's like probably the most consistent thing I ever have done in my life, like till now, was the rap shit. And it gave me purpose then. Like as fucked up as life was, like I had something I cared about like so much. But even by the end, I wasn't even making music either, you know? So like I got sober and like took a break off it. I didn't jump into it right away. I took time to do the steps and like get situated and like physical sobriety. And then at about like 6 months, probably, I got back in the studio again. And it was like so different for me, like writing sober. Like I thought my inspiration and creativity would just downhill, but it felt like that at first, but then it just fucking skyrocketed, you know?
How long do you think the process took? Like, do you remember like how long it took? Just in case anybody out there is like, fuck it, I'm gonna try it out. I'm fucking sober curious now.
It took a while, dude. Like it took until like really like 6 months ago to be like comfortable completely with it, you know? Like the album I recorded 2 years ago, like I deleted it off the internet because I'm like, this shit sucks.
Oh shit.
And it was, in my opinion, it was trash, dude.
Hey, well, I mean, it's your project, so I mean, you have every right to do so, you know? What were some challenges? Because, you know, the music industry, you know, people use, that's where they get their inspiration. What are some challenges you face or triggers, you know, while you're chopping it up or recording with people that, you know, they're not sober?
Being around the shit is like, the people I work with are not like shooting heroin and stuff. Like it's like a lot of drinking and like weed smoking. Like rappers smoke a lot of weed.
Right,
you know what I mean? You know, like the occasional other things. But like the group of people I work with are like pretty, like they're not about that shit at all. Like and like meth, like harder drugs are kind of frowned upon. But even when I have been around that, like if we're like being productive, like doing music, like cool, like. But if I'm just like hanging around at the spot and like we're not getting shit done, like, why am I there?
You have no purpose being
and that's
there.
when it's frustrating. Like I'm the only sober one and they're just like trashed and like we're not being productive.
Just fucking whip out the ginger ale and shit.
Yeah, that's my shit, dude.
I love ginger ale though. Canada Dry?
I mean, that's like the generic shit.
Nah, really?
I like the Reed's ginger beer. Like
I'm gonna have to try that shit then.
Yeah, it's fire, dude.
Damn, straight up, I'm gonna have to try that shit. Talk about your music and the message behind it, because you know it's pretty intense, and then it's also like chill vibes, like, and I like that. So just describe what your music is, more the vibes and the message behind it.
For like I usually like I play the beat first and then write to it. So like based off the vibe of the beat is like what the vibe of the song's most likely gonna be. But it also depends on how I'm feeling that day. And like maybe if I'm like feeling like low and depressed, like I'm gonna naturally just pick a darker beat to write to. You know what I mean? But most of the most like inspirational shit I write is actually for some reason when I'm feeling the lowest.
Word?
Yeah. Like most of the time, yeah.
Oh snap! I couldn't tell when I heard it. I'm just like, damn, this is like, I want to know what he was on. He was on fucking Life.
Yeah, bro.
Shit.
Like women, man. Women bring a lot of inspiration to my music. Like,
I agree, bro.
that's the number one killer, bro. Like straight up. I love them though. I love you.
Up. I love you too. Don't forget about me. I butchered his shit, but forgive me. All right, so hey, before I let you go, bro, I gotta ask you one last question, and that is that. There's 3 things in life that are guaranteed and are actually marked on our gravestone. And that is our birthday, the day we passed, and that dash in the middle that oftentimes gets overlooked. What is your dash going to represent for you? What do you want to be remembered by?
I just like want to make people laugh and feel good and like get out of themselves. You know what I mean? Because
I feel that.
I spent so much of my life like that. And if it wasn't for those types of people that were around me to help pull me out of the shit, like, I don't think I'd be here. And I try, as far as my music goes, like, I try to just paint a picture with a positive message as best I can. And, like, so if, like, one or more people, even one person, like, feels my shit, like, my job's been, you know, been complete, you know what I mean? And I also don't want to be buried in the ground.
Okay.
I want to be like,
all right.
I want to be cremated. Take notes, y'all. I want to be cremated and like shot out to the sea or like space or something.
Oh, you know what I mean? Snap, dude. Damn. Fucking threw me for a loop on that one, dog. It's like, I don't want a gravestone, homie. What you talking about?
And I just like, I want on my grave, if I am in the ground or like if I'm in a wall, I want the shit to say my name and then my birth date and then the infinity symbol.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, get a fucking Riggy logo and the infinity sign.
Yeah,
hey, that shit's dope, dude. Dude, well, thanks again, man, for joining me. I truly appreciate your time, bro. I wish you nothing but the best. If you guys want to cop any of his music or check him out, I'm going to link the links in the descriptions below.
I'll never be the same.